Welcome back to another video. In this one I'm going to be installing the ceiling insulation in our future nursery, in the hallway and in our bathroom. So to give you a little bit of an overview, basically when we first renovated the house, the main renovation, we put plasterboards all around this room because it was the original plaster. It was in a bit of a mess, and there was also a lot of condensation issues in here because it was so cold. So what we did is the wall that is the external wall to the back of the house and this sloping part of the ceiling, they got insulated with 25mm of Kingspan insulation. Basically what the roof line is like in this house is it slopes up but it continues up. So it's a sloping roof like that, and then there's a main roof off it which starts around here somewhere. Now the issue being there's no insulation in the sloping part because there's no space, and then where it carries on here you've got a flat roof and the slope continues, so it's a bit like that. There's no insulation in there, or very little. There's been a little bit shoved down, but you basically can't access it without taking the roof tiles off. Now we're not going to start taking all of the roof tiles off to insulate in there. So instead of insulating in the loft, we're going to put some insulation boards onto the ceiling. Now you can see that is full reach for me, so we've got plenty of height in here. I'm 6 foot, so I don't know how tall that is, but we've got plenty of height. I think it's 2.35 from measuring this for doing the feature wall at some point. So we've got plenty of height to put 50mm in. We've put 25mm in there and it worked really well. I thought for the sake of 25mm extra, I'd put 50mm in here. It didn't cost too much more, it was only a tenner a board extra, and I think we only needed 3 boards, so for the sake of 30 quid, it just made sense to do it. This ceiling is massively noticeably colder than the sloping ceiling. If you touch both together, one feels warm, one feels very cold. And I think I mentioned in the last video, we've had what we thought was a leaking chimney, but it actually turned out that it's just a cold area on the roof and it's condensation. So to prevent that, obviously we're going to insulate and then plasterboard over the top, and that should prevent any of that issue happening again, because obviously the air in here and the moisture isn't going to hit that cold part of the roof. It'll be warm, and therefore the moisture won't condense into condensation. So the first slight issue we've run into is the fact that I can't get a full sheet, an 8x4 sheet up our stairs. I thought I could get a full sheet up. Maybe I can in a 25mm, maybe it's just because this is so thick, but I'm pretty sure that I brought, well, you can see here, I've definitely brought almost a full board up. This is 235, so it's nearly a full board. So maybe it is literally just a tiny bit needed cutting off. And because this is so thick, I just couldn't get it up the stairs. I was on my own as well, so I couldn't really bend and manipulate it into place. So it's not the end of the world for this. I've just scored the board in half, snapped it, and I'm going to straighten it out. I'll just whack some foam along there, glue it back together, and then obviously it's getting stuck to the ceiling, so it's not even an issue anyway. What I'm going to be using to stick the boards on is some expanding foam. So this is the Mega Stick Bondit brand foam. I've used similar foams before, but this is basically plasterboard adhesive in foam. So it's basically the same as expanding foam, but it doesn't expand quite as much. Therefore, when you stick it, it sticks rather than obviously expanding and therefore pushing the boards off. So I haven't read the instructions of this, but if it's the same as the ones I've used before, you basically apply it to the back of the board, wait 5 minutes until it's sort of tacky, and then what you do is you just press it into place, hold it for 30 seconds or so, and it it pretty much grabs instantly, and then within an hour it's solid as a rock. Now I know that this works really well because all of these plasterboards were applied with it, and as you can hear, it's solid as a rock, to the point where when I've obviously been removing this, the wood from this wall, it's been pulling chunks of plasterboard off and it's not loosened it at all. So it's good stuff. I'm basically gonna put this on and then foam plasterboard to it directly, which is what I've done on this sloping ceiling. Never had any issues. I will drive a couple of long drywall screws through it in a few places, just as sort of belt and braces, but to be honest, this stuff's so strong it doesn't really need it. But I'm gonna have to be filling some of this anyway. I'm not gonna bother plastering the full ceiling, I'm just gonna skim over it with filler. So filling a few screw holes isn't the end of the world. Bang one in the middle, 3 or 4 around the edges, and it'll be sound. So yeah, first things first to do is get myself another light, because this light obviously is going to have to be taken down, and I'll have to expose the wires, take that off completely. So obviously I'm going to turn downstairs off at the fuse breaker. So I'll get myself another light so I can still see. We'll get this light taken off, and then we'll get these plasterboards. No, we won't. We'll get these insulation boards stuck up, and then the next piece is cut in, and then once we've done that, any little gaps we'll fill with foam, and then we'll move on and we'll do the exact same in the bathroom, the exact same in the on the landing, and then we'll use the 25mm boards that I've bought for that sloping part in the landing. Right, so enough jibber jabber, and let's get cracking. Yeah, right then, that didn't exactly go to plan. So I started on this board here just to get these two out of the way, because I didn't have to take the lights out for these ones. And I was just going to stick them in the middle of the video, just a quick little time lapse. So I had the time lapse on, and then the kind of expanding foam literally exploded. You can sort of see it from the time lapse. It doesn't look that bad because obviously it's a time lapse. But yeah, it's literally exploded and broken my expanding foam gun. So I had to put my hand over it because it was literally firing out. It's on the door. There's sort of remnants on here because basically it's on the mirror. So basically I scooped a load off into this plastic bag and then stuck this board on, because if I'd have let the foam dry onto this board it would have obviously just ruined the board. So I still stuck that up, but obviously there was bits of foam off the side of it, so we've got foam all along the wall. I mean, thankfully this is getting repainted at some point, so this will just sand off and it will just pick off the mirror. I'm just leaving everything to dry. It's all over the door again, that'll pick off. It shouldn't even take the paint off, hopefully. I'll probably just do that tomorrow once it's properly dry. But yeah, I mean, thankfully I nearly didn't put sheets down because I thought, it'd be fine, it's just one bit of foam on, stick it up, hold it for a few seconds and it's on. But yeah, like, it was nearly a disaster. but thankfully I've got it up. It's only on the door, the sheets protected the carpet, but yeah. And I can't do anything until Emma finishes work, which is 5 or just after 5. She's then got a screw fix to get a foam gun, so realistically I'm not going to do any more tonight. But I thought I would stick in the boards in this is just a boiler cupboard. I had to cut that board in half to get it in because the doorway is thinner than the width inside. And I'm just going to stick them with silicone and then just prop things to keep them in place. Because they'll stick fine. And then there's a little gap in the middle that I'll just fill with some expanding foam and tape it, and that'll be fine. So yeah, I'll do that, but I now can't do anything until tomorrow. So once I've done this, hopefully the next clip will then be me using the expanding foam gun that I've got all fine and nothing else explodes. So yeah, not ideal, but we crack on. So yeah, you can see I've got this board on. I'm going to just get these 2 boards on. Like I say, I'm just going to put lots of silicone on this, and that'll be plenty strong enough. I'm not going to put a plasterboard in there because it's literally a cupboard and there's not really a massive need for it. So let's go. Literally just done a load of blobs of silicone. Stick up there, and then once I've done this one, I'll prop stuff up just in case they drop, but it's pretty sticky stuff. It shouldn't drop too much. This is all the silicone I've got left as well, so thankfully well, you can see how close it is to being finished. Thankfully I had enough to at least do something, or it would have been very frustrating. Go. They're in place. To be fair, I don't even think they're going to drop, so I'm just going to leave them. They're so light, they're not going to like drop the silicone, so yeah. But yeah, like absolute chaos, but that's at least this part and this part done. And yeah, like I say, I'm probably not going to bother plasterboarding that. If I've got a spare piece of plasterboard left over, I will. But I'm not sure if I will have enough to do that piece. But if I do, I'll just bang a bit of plasterboard in there. And if not, I will just leave it as foil backed insulation, which looks absolutely fine. And like I said, this is literally just the boiler cupboard, so it's just to stop all the heat from the boiler escaping up there. This door stays shut, so this bit isn't as vital, but we may as well have some of the heat from the boiler come out into the house rather than just going straight up into the roof. So yeah, fingers crossed we'll go, and then suddenly I'll have a foam gun in my hand and doing the rest of it, and the rest of it's completely smooth. But yeah, absolute nightmare, but at least we've got one board and the cupboard done. Not exactly what I have planned for today, but I guess I'll go and do some editing and get something done at least. And yeah, hopefully the rest of this video will be nice and smooth. Right, Emma's picked us up a new foam gun, like the legend that she is, so we can hopefully crack on without any issues this time, hopefully. let's get cracking. So I've been downstairs and turned off the main light breaker fuse for the upstairs lights, so we can take this light off without having to worry about the cables. And I've brought up my video light, so if we do need any more light we can obviously have a bit more light. It's not too bad in here because we've got a nice big window there. Well, quite a small window, but it lets in plenty of light. The hallway is very dark, so there's no windows there, so we use it in there. And then the bathroom's not too bad because we've got the skylight window. So the plan is to put the first full board on. It goes sort of about here, and then we'll see what cuts are left. Put the cuts in here, get those on. Then we've got the landing, flat roof and the bathroom to do. So we'll get cracking. I need to get this light taken off. I've just brought a little hole saw to cut a hole through the insulation to let the cable out of. I think there's plenty of length on that from memory. So we'll get that off. We'll get the board in place. I'll measure up where the hole needs to be. I'm just going to cut a small hole. Obviously don't want to cut a big hole because it's less insulation, so we'll cut a small hole, get that fit through, the wires feed through, and then we'll get all this insulation finished. And then I'm just going to leave that light out. We don't need it in a minute because obviously it's only getting work done in here, and then we'll get on with the other two. Right then, hopefully this isn't a disaster. Good start. More light here. Right then. Alexa, set a timer for 5 minutes.
5 minutes, starting now.
You'll have seen in the time lapse that I've just decided to cut this board in half. That was basically because I cut it in half and left the foil on one side so it folded to bring up the stairs because it was too big. But then I thought, oh, may as well just nip it in half. Put them up in 2 halves, it just makes life a little bit easier for me. So I did that. We'll put up this half. It made cutting this hole for the light fit in and cable and stuff to come through loads easier. So yeah, I did that, and then I'll put the other half in. I just whack a little bit of foam in between the two to glue them back together, and then just tape it up. No biggie. So yeah, you put this on, wait for about 5 minutes to let it go sort of tacky. I normally just get a piece of like foil from the insulation and just do that, and it's when it starts to string up like cheese on a pizza that it's then tacky enough and ready to stick. And then you just push it into place and apply pressure for 30 seconds or so, and that's it, stuck in place. So there's board number 1 up, and as you can imagine, with a over 100-year-old Victorian house, it was, as always with this house, never as straightforward as it should have been, because this ceiling is not straight, it's very curved in fact. So I've had to, you'll have seen on the time lapse probably, this side was dropping down, and if I pushed it up, this side wanted to come down, and it was curving all over the place. So I had to drop this down and pack more foam in here. Then I've propped it up, and then you can see that's now solid all the way along. And just to make sure, I've run a bead of the foam along each edge, because that means if anything does come loose, it'll be this coming loose and it won't fall. It's kind of wedged in anyway because of the angle of this beam here, but I just wanted to make sure. And then when, like I say, when the plasterboards go in, I'll put screws all the way through all of it anyway, so it's not like the whole thing can drop off. The only issue that could happen is obviously a little bit of movement, which would crack the, I'm not sure if I'm going to plaster this or just fill, tape and fill, but the only issue would be a slight crack, but that could obviously be sorted if it did happen. But I'm pretty sure it should be fine. Like, that's the paper come away slightly, so I'll chuck some foam in there when the plasterboards go up, just to stick that paper back to the foam. But yeah, other than that, not too bad. So that's this room done. So now just to do the hallway and the bathroom.
Tell me that you wanna stay, baby, just don't walk away. I need you now, fade it out. All the time we spent alone, fighting through the firestorm. Don't let me down, I need you now, 'cause I'm feeling worn out, it's getting to me. Lost some heart trying to get on my feet. Caught in the madness, I feel you somehow. Don't let me go, I need you right now. I wanna be next to you, you wanna be next to me. Holding our paper hearts, fading our broken dreams. I wanna be next to you, you wanna be next to me. Holding our paper hearts, fading our broken dreams. I wanna be next to you. Firestone, don't let me down. I need you now, 'cause I'm feeling worn out. It's getting to me. Lost some heart trying to get on my feet. Caught in the madness, I feel you somehow. Don't let me go, I need you right now. I wanna be next to you, you wanna be next to me. Holding our paper hearts, fading out broken dreams. I wanna be next to you, you wanna be next to me. Holding our paper hearts, fading out broken dreams. I wanna be next to you.
So that's all of the insulation finished. We've done the flat part of the nursery, that's in 50mm PIR. We've done the flat part of the landing, again in 50mm PIR. And then the sloping part of the landing that never got done originally, that's been done in 25mm, along with the inside of the boiler cupboard. We've then done the inside of this cupboard because this has been added extra, so the top of this cupboard is the original ceiling, which is in the hallway. So that has been insulated just with 25mm to use some of that up. And then along this L shape of the flat part of the roof, flat part of the ceiling, sorry, in the bathroom, that's now being done in 50mm. So I just need to cut the foam away next, where I've run a bead of foam all the way around the edge just to fill in any little gaps and obviously to help secure it. So I'll cut that away and then we'll be ready for plasterboarding. But I'm going to do that in the next video, so I'm going to leave this one here. As always, thank you for watching. Please do subscribe, it really does help the channel grow, and I'll see you in the next one.